So what exactly do you think of when you hear the term ransomware? Let's assume that the where element relates to software, which is largely true for this course. Now, when I see the word ransom, I think of another word, extortion, because that's exactly what ransomware is trying to achieve. Have a look at the Wikipedia definition of extortion. Extortion is a criminal offense of obtaining money, property, or services from an institution through coercion. Now that's a pretty good description of what is happening in the world of ransomware. However, if I was to tailor this for ransomware purposes, I would append people or person to the end. And here's the reason why I think this is significant. In a report that the security firm Symantec completed in 2016, they identified that over half of the victims of ransomware infections were consumers, 57% in fact, with the remaining 43% being organizations. That statistic shows that currently consumers are the most likely victims of ransomware infection. Now, there are a number of factors that are going to impact these statistics in the near future, and I'm going to go into this in more detail in a later module when I discuss the victims of ransomware. Let's move on using this definition for ransom. Now that we've agreed what ransomware is, let's take a look at how criminals actually undertake this activity. There are a number of different approaches taken by criminals. The reason for this is that the whole area of ransom has really been very lucrative for them. They are constantly looking at new ways and different methods of extortion. Let's have a look at some of the main methods in use today. First, there is distributed denial of service. This is an attack where a criminal will direct massive volumes of traffic to an internet-facing asset, such as a website. The traffic is not genuinely interested in visiting this website, but instead is sent there maliciously by the criminal for the sole purpose of preventing legitimate users from accessing the website. When this happens, the malicious traffic is denying the legitimate user the ability to access the website. That's why it's called a denial of service. These attacks are usually undertaken from multiple different computers on the internet, as opposed to just one single computer. And that's why they're called distributed denial of service attack. A small attack is undertaken initially, and then an email is sent to the victim, notifying them that if they don't pay a ransom, a large attack is going to follow in a short period of time. If the ransom is paid, the DDoS attack does not go ahead. The next type of attack we're going to look at is all about a data breach. Hackers get confidential data from a company or organization and then demand a ransom in return for giving a commitment to avoid publishing the data on the internet or publishing the fact that the company has suffered a data breach. The victim organization has a fixed time to pay the ransom, and after that time, if the ransom isn't paid, the criminals will publish the data. The final type of ransom on the menu today is another type of denial of service attack, but this time it's localized. It's not a distributed denial of service attack. What happens in this scenario is an attacker will run some malware on the victim's system, usually without the victim realizing it. The malware can make the data or the system unavailable. Then a demand is sent for ransom in order to return the system to its normal operating state. The most common approach here is that the malware will encrypt all the data with very strong encryption and demand a ransom in return for the keys to decrypt the data. This type of attack is called a crypto ransom attack and is the main type of attack we'll be focusing on during this course. One slight variation on this type of attack is where the malware locks the system instead of encrypting the data. We have seen this with mobile phones, where the phones actually get locked as opposed to encrypting the data. Only when a ransom is paid Is there an unlock key provided to the user so they can get their phone back again? So let's move on and look at the progress of ransomware over the years.